Here's how to do the independent fog light mod on a 99 Toyota Solara. Here I have the schematic diagram for the fog lights on the Solara. Power starts from the fog light fuse here and runs down through this relay and then out to the fog lights. This relay is controlled by the low beam headlight fuse. So for it to become independent of the low beams, I'm going to cut this wire here, which is the red wire, and run it to my own fuse in the fuse box. I tapped into the 20 amp seat heater fuse because that's unused and it comes on with the ignition. That'll turn on this relay, which then runs to the fog light switch, and then that'll run out to the DRL module. So to complete the circuit, I'm going to cut this blue and red wire and ground it out. We're going to first start by removing this panel here at the bottom. There's 2 screws underneath the hood latch and one more over on this side that need to be removed. There's one more screw that you need to remove under here. So we pull this panel back and remove this screw here. You need to remove the driver's side foot plate. I'm going to remove this thumb screw here. And then pull up foot plate. I'm going to remove this panel by pulling it out. Just clips holding it in. Next I'm going to remove this metal panel. It's held on by a couple of 10mm bolts. One on this side, one over here, one up here, and then one down in the far corner. Next I'm going to remove this metal panel, just wiggling it out of the dashboard. Next we need to remove this bottom panel here. So there's one screw in here, and then if you turn the steering wheel, there's one screw right here. Turn the steering wheel to the other side, there's another screw right over here. I'm going to remove this bottom piece, give it a tug, pull it straight down. Next I'm going to locate this connector here that goes to the fog light switches. Disconnect it and open up the housing here. And I'm looking for the red wire with a blue stripe and silver dots. This one here. So I've got my red, blue, and silver dot wire. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. And then strip this end here. I'm going to take a short piece of extension wire and connect it to the wire that I cut. And then I need to ground the end of this wire on this grounding screw right over here. So I can just undo this and wrap the wire around it. And then screw the wire back in. I'm going to tape up my connections here. I'm just going to close this back up. Pull the shield over. Plug this back in. So here we have the relay section. This relay on the right hand side here at the back is a fog light relay. We need to remove this thing to gain access to the wires. So there is a bolt at the top that we need to remove here. And turn it around in the back of the, this is the fog light relay. So we're looking for the wires on the back here. So this is the fog light relay, and this red wire is the power that goes to the relay. So we need to cut this wire and then route this to another power source. So I've taped off the one end of the wire that we cut, and I'm going to connect a new extension wire to the red wire that goes to the relay. And then I'll tape that up. And then the other end of the extension wire, I'm going to run it to the fuse box. And it so happens that that 20 amp fuse on the top left hand corner comes on with the ignition, and it's also unused. It's for a seat heater option, which I don't have. So I'll connect it to that. So here I got my extension cable connected to the relay along this red wire, and I ran this red wire along the side up to the fuse box to this 20 amp fuse in the top left hand corner. And there's one more screw that we got to put back up there. I'm going to replace this panel underneath the steering column. I'll replace a couple of screws here, down there, and then one on the other side. I'm going to put back this metal plate right here. First tuck it behind plastic. Line it up. And there's 4 screws that we got to replace. Here, down there, over here, and one out here. Replace the driver's side foot plate. It goes on a stud. And there's one thumb screw that goes at the back. Replace the scuff plate.